y'all really think I was going to be on time? I have ADHD, come on. Anyway, not an excuse. But I did have a few technical problems getting this set up because I'm streaming from my iPhone, which is why this is this way instead of landscape. But you know what? I'm doing it, and that's the most important thing. Hey everybody, my name is Stacey Michelle, and I am the host and creator of this channel, ADHD is the New Black. I'm so glad you could be here with me this morning. If you are in the chats, just go ahead and say hello. Let me make sure everything's all set up here before we get started. Little good, thank you. All right, give me 1 second, everybody. All right, so hey there. So today is the first day of, God willing, many days that I'll be going live. Hello, Black ADHD Coach. Good morning. You are having a day. I feel you. I'm having a day too, but you know, I decided that this morning, no matter how much of a day it felt like, I was going to go ahead and start doing my live streams like I promised, because every day I wasn't doing them, I wasn't feeling good about myself. So now I feel about 70% better about myself just for doing this live stream this morning. So I'm going to, put this in a post a little bit later on, but expect a live stream for the next month, 30 days or so, every Tuesday and Thursday at this time. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 9:02 a.m. No, joking, 9 a.m. Every Tuesday, Thursday for the next 30 days. And then after 30 days, I am going to increase the days that I'm doing live until eventually I'm up to doing live, hopefully 4 days a week. And it's something that I've just felt like I'm not delivering everything that I could be for someone who calls herself a content creator. And I realized that, hey, I've been treating my channel almost like a hobby. Again, the bulk of it was because I was in coaching academy for 2 years and, getting the hours I needed and everything to become a coach. But now I've been a coach for well over a year. And so I want to really share what I've been helping my clients with to you all out there, because maybe some people don't even know that ADHD coaching is a thing. And if you know it's a thing, maybe you don't know much about it. Or if you know things about it, you might be like, that's really expensive. And my insurance doesn't pay for that. And I get that. And that's one of the things that I am advocating for, is for our health insurance in America to start incorporating ADHD coaching as a vital step in ADHD treatment. But that is actually not the topic for today. The topic for today is, who are you with ADHD? I don't have any notes in front of me. I'm kind of flying off the cuff because I didn't prepare that much. Because, well, anyway, if you have ADHD, okay? Then I didn't prepare that much, but the reason I wanted to talk about or explore the idea of who are you with ADHD is this. And I'm going to speak from my experience, because the ADHD experience is not a monolith. Like, we don't all experience the symptoms in the same way. We may all have some of the same symptoms, but let's see, who's that? Chief D. Hi, how are you? I'm on a sick one. I don't understand that slang, but okay, I'll take it. And Black ADHD Coach said, we know, amen. Yes, Chief D says, I'm high as hell. Okay, I'm high on life, Chief D. And Chief D, I appreciate you tuning into this live, but if you're going to comment, I would like for you to comment things that are helpful to the community. And you don't necessarily have to be complimentary. You can critique what you hear if you disagree with it, but don't come up in my comments clowning today, okay? All right. Anyway, so guys, what I wanted to say is that we're not a monolith with ADHD. We all share many of the same symptoms, but we experience them differently because we all have different experiences in our lives. But I noticed for myself and many of my clients that before getting that diagnosis, before realizing what the ADHD was and that it was actually affecting us, and that's why we behave the way we do, I remember for myself always feeling like I was several people, not like in a schizophrenic way, not, that kind of diagnosis, but in that I was always, and still do to an extent, always kind of morphing and changing a little bit depending on my environment or around the people I am as a way to either relate or fit in or be validated or liked. And that's been since childhood. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that because it really shows that if you're somebody with ADHD who does that as well, and I know that's a common experience, it just means that you're adaptable to your environment. We're good with that. We're good at adapting to our environments. But if we're morphing so many times around different people to fit in or be liked, a lot of times we can lose sight of who we are if we ever really knew in the first place. And I'll give you a concrete example of my experience with this shape shifting. Okay. I have, well, all of my first cousins, with the exception of a couple, grew up just outside of Chicago. And so when I was growing up, I was the country cousin, the country cousin with a K. And they all, didn't speak as I did, as far as I sounded like I was from the South, and they didn't. Ironically, to my classmates in Alabama, I did not sound like I was from the South, but whatever. It just means they sounded more country than I did. Anyway, so I'd find myself when I was around my cousins, just kind of like, taking on the accent that they kind of had, trying to be a little more highfalutin. And I don't know if that is just a natural skill I developed from that, but I can mimic a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, anybody I'm around, I can like mimic their, their intonation, their mannerisms. That's maybe where it started, but I always felt like, and it wasn't even a conscious choice. It was just, if I'd get around a cousin who like, it spoke like they were from the hood, and I'd be like, yeah, what's up? Like, yeah. And it's like, ugh. And it would be like a third person critiquing me in my head, like, Stacey, who is that? So anyway, that's just a mild example. That can be it can be a gift, it can be a strength, and it also can be a weakness. And another way I want to give an example of how maybe you too with ADHD, feel like you are many people in one body is that we have a lot of interest, right? A lot of people, most people, I'm going to put it this way. All of my clients with ADHD have multiple interests, and not just like, that seems interesting, but in I'm going to go pursue that kind of way. And then they do it. We do it. And we do it until we don't want to do it anymore. And it's our favorite thing to do until it's not. And we're so enthusiastic about it. If it's a career choice, we're excited because we think, oh, we found a thing that we really like. And then we do it for a year or two until either we find out we've kind of maxed out our ability at it. We've gotten just good enough at it to say we can do it. We can do it pretty well. But then it's like, not interested anymore. And then we move on to the next thing. I myself have had several careers. I'll detail them for you. These are the careers, not just, paycheck jobs, but careers. I started out my career as a journalist in newspaper first, and then in broadcasting, and which included, going out in the field, doing live shots, covering live news, breaking news. I was anchoring. And then when I got to a point where, honestly, my challenges with my ADHD symptoms caught up to me in a way that I didn't have the support I needed to overcome them, then it was like, this career doesn't feel like a good fit. So then I left that career, got fired from it, left that career, and became an entertainer. And I wanted to be an actor, and I always wanted to be an actor since I was a kid. I love commercials. I thought I'd be like, a spokesperson for Tic Tac or some crazy, something like that. So I moved to New York City and started pursuing acting. Went back to school, trained as a professional actor, and became an actor. Did soap operas. I had, a recurring role on a couple of soap operas that my mom watched, which was really important to me. And then I went as far as I felt I could in New York, and that's how I ended up in LA. In LA, the acting thing hasn't quite blossomed the way I thought it would, but you know why? I never felt like I really fit in that world, to be honest. It always felt like I was like I didn't deserve to be there in those environments, like on certain sets. I always felt underprepared, no matter how prepared I was. I always felt underprepared, and so I succeeded at it. I mean, I don't have an Academy Award or an Emmy or anything like that, but when your mom can call all her friends and say, "Hey, watch Stacy on Law and Order," to me that's success, because I just succeeded at what I set out to do, just become an actor. Well, when I came out here, things kind of took a turn, and I started pursuing stand-up comedy because somebody told me I was funny, and I'm like, you know what, I am. Let me discover the art in that. And so I did that for a number of years, which morphed into another career as an audience warm-up comic for TV shows that have live audiences, which was the last career as a comic I had before COVID. All that to say, I'm not like, oh, look what I've done. I'm just saying that a lot of ADHD people like myself pursue multiple interests, and a lot of us are successful at our pursuits until either our symptoms catch up with us and kind of slows us down or prevents us from moving further, or we're like, learn to play the guitar, like after 3 months of lessons. Okay, I'm done. And now my guitar has been sitting here for 3 years. I haven't touched it. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, let me see what some of the comments are saying. Let's see. Hi, Black ADHD coach, Law and Order, impressive. Okay, I will take that. I'm so bad at receiving compliments or acknowledgement. So thank you. I guess it is because I worked for it, I went after it, and I was able to achieve that. So let's see. You also said, Black ADHD coach, that yep, you went to school for interpreting for 4 years ago, and you lost interest. Yeah. No ADHD challenges and no management. Yeah. Self-management is really one of our challenges, isn't it? And that's one of the things that I am struggling with as a coach now, because I'm an independent contractor now, and my self-management skills need a coach. It's the funny thing is, like, I know all the skills, I know all the tools now, and I feel so wonderful for my clients when they're growing because they're applying the tools and the systems and everything. But I'm like, who's your coach? Because, oh, I'm your coach. Maybe I should actually follow my own lead. So anyway, let me get back to the multiple careers, the multiple interests. Cumulatively, and I'm talking about my clients and myself, please put a yes in the comments if this is something you agree with. Over time, a lot of my clients, all of them who have this issue, and myself, you start to feel after a while, I started to feel after a while that, yeah, I did all that stuff. Like we throw dirt on our accomplishments. Like I could have won an Oscar. And I think on some level I would have been like, yeah, but. And a lot of us engage in yeah, buts because we are so motivated to get on to the next thing because our brains, dopamine, next. We're always like, next, chronic next, right? Because we have so many things on the to-do list to do, or so many other things we want to accomplish, or we've gotten, the thing that we were interested in out of our system over time, even though a person who doesn't have ADHD might look at that on paper and go, wow, you've done a lot in your life. To me and to my clients who struggle with this are like, have I? Doesn't feel like it. And I think a lot of that comes from, I know it comes from being around people, maybe in your family or maybe friends who, have gone on to have normal lives. They worked one job, maybe two at the most. They have seen a thing to its end, maybe to retirement. Maybe they worked the same job like, our aunts and uncles used to for 30 years and they have a good retirement. My sister, she's that way. She's worked for one. Okay, I don't know what that was about, but I'm back here. And we look at other people and we start comparing ourselves to other people who have, to us, normal lives, normal jobs, normal income, and a lot of our struggle in our heads comes from the fact that every time we move to the next thing, unless that next thing is in the majority alignment with our skill sets and with our interests, a lot of times the income does not support our interest, or we don't stay in the thing long enough to build a foundation of financial security. And I'm going to be honest, that is where I find myself, not being in a place of financial security. I'm not, whining. I'm not being victimy. I'm just being reflective. And so I have to remind myself that, yes, I made those choices and they seem like a good idea in the moment. And to be honest, most of my choices I wouldn't change because I've had some amazing experiences that I wouldn't have had I gone to work at the proverbial factory for 30 years, or if I'd stayed, with my very first job as a newspaper reporter. I mean, I'd probably be out of that career anyway, because do people still read newspapers? There are not many newspapers that are in print anymore, and definitely very few, if any, have the staffing level in their newsrooms that used to be back in the 90s. So I know that, my life would have had to change anyway, just because of our changing economy and our changing times. And I would have had to evolve, with learning new technology. So that part, I don't regret making different choices. I think the thing that I wish I knew earlier was my ADHD brain and how it works and how I could mitigate some of the disasters that happened from some of the things I just jumped into head first. And I might have jumped into them head first anyway, but at least I would have had a more realistic set of expectations. Does that make sense to anybody? Anyway, comment yes if you if any of what I'm saying resonates with you. And so in alignment with this, I've had a lot of just paycheck jobs that require a resume, right? And this is the part I hate the most, is I've had so much life experience and I've had so many different experiences working different careers and different jobs, and I've acquired so many new skills every time. It's like new skill, new skill, new skill, new skill. And it's like, how do you even put 50 different jobs that all look disparate from each other on a resume without looking like you just can't hold a job? Like, yeah, sorry, yeah, let's see, you were a bartender, and you were an actor, and you were a driving school instructor, and yeah, I was really good at that. Okay, and you waited tables and bartended at the same time. Okay, oh, and you were a tour guide. Okay, and you've been a game show contestant, and you won several times. And it's like, do you put all that on one resume? No, of course not. It's like, it makes you look crazy, right? So I struggle every time I apply for a job, and we all need different streams of income now. Every time I've applied for a new job just to have some extra income in, and they require a resume, like on Indeed or whatever these online useless job searches are, it's like, well, which career do I tell them about? Really, which one? So, for example, I applied to be a flight attendant for Delta about 3 years ago. I didn't make it because I showed up to the online interview late. Apparently being late is a no-no in the airline industry. I don't know why, because they're late all the time. But anyway, apparently as a flight attendant, you're supposed to wear a watch and look at it and show up to wherever you're going like early. Anyway, I had technical difficulties on my, no I didn't, I just showed up a minute too late. It was like only a minute late. I'm like, I was just a minute late to this interview. Unacceptable. Anyway, where was I going with this? Anyway, in the interview process, you know, you have to fill out their really long, online, it's basically a long resume. And it's one of the things they ask is to tell us about another job where you have applicable skills, where you resolved an issue, you know, between XYZ. And it's like, well, do I tell them about that time that I had an angry customer when I was waiting tables in New York City? Do I tell them about that time when I just plug in whatever job I've worked there? It's like, and then it's like, well, I don't want to sound like I've had that many jobs, so I'll just maybe make up one job and I'll kind of like consolidate all the experiences and make it sound like one. That's the problem. When we've got so many skills, so much acquired history on our resume, I struggle with, who am I? Who do I need to be to get this job? And so if you're waiting for me to give you some answers, I'm still trying to work that out myself. My purpose actually for this live stream is to help us to be okay with the fact that that's who we are. Okay. I'm not like a job coach or anything like that. So I really can't give you advice on which one of those things to put on your resume. But what I want to say as someone who deeply cares about you, whoever's watching, anyone who has ADHD, anyone who has autism or ADHD, anyone who has a neurodivergent brain, where our experiences don't look like other people's experiences, but ours are no less valid, no less valid. As a matter of fact, if workplaces and just our society in general was set up to value different ways of thinking and different people, we'd have a much easier time giving ourselves that validation that we often look outward for with ADHD. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? How many people on the live, by the way? Let me see. I have to put my really thick glasses on. We have 6 people on. Thank you, 6 people for showing up. If you wouldn't mind, 6 people, just kind of type hi so I can see who's in here. Just type hi. I'd love to see who's in here. Hello, Dr. Nisha. How are you? It's good to see you all. And in a few minutes, I'm actually going to go through some of the viewer comments that have been left on my videos over the last several years. And trust me, the whole comparing ourselves to other people, I do it all the time. I compare myself to every YouTuber out there who has a larger following, who posts content, you know, regularly. And then I have to realize that, well, a lot of those people have help. And, well, you're looking at my help. Oh, there's nobody. So, yeah. And, I still have fewer than 10,000 subscribers. That's another thing, by the way. If you are here in the live, thank you for showing up this morning. And if you're not subscribed, please go hit that subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button, because I think I'm only about 50 subscribers short of hitting my 10,000 subscriber milestone. So please, let's do that. 10,000 subscribers is a big deal still in YouTube. And I've been a little stagnating here at 9,500 for about a year. So hit that subscribe button. It's really weird that most of the people who watch the videos are not subscribed. So go ahead and do that. Let's see who just said hi. We got Auntie Cleo. Hey, Auntie Cleo. Comparing yourself to some ideal version of yourself. That is so, so real. My ideal version of myself was actually one of the women who raised me, my aunt, Dorothy, who has dementia now. She got it early onset, and so she's not herself anymore. So I feel like I've been mourning her very slowly for several years now. And, you know, she was the living embodiment of a black professional yuppie in the 80s, and I saw that growing up, and I saw her achieve so many goals, and just become this stable. you know she was like Claire Huxtable. Okay, like everybody knows Claire Huxtable, right? Claire Huxtable, who didn't know Cliff was drugging women, but that's okay. She was that. She was what Ebony magazine told black women that a professional woman, today's black woman, should look like. That was her. And I saw that growing up, and she set the bar very high. And I still, to this day, I'm nowhere near, in my mind, what she accomplished. We had very different trajectories, but, I have had to learn to become, no, I'm still figuring out how to become my own woman separate from her, because, you know, she was a very strong influence, a very positive influence in my life. And cut you quick with her words, though, but still, tough love, tough love. Let's see, who else is logging on here, or who else is in the chat? If you guys could just say hi if you haven't said hi yet, and please do hit subscribe. I'm looking at my notes on my whiteboard. Just give me 1 second. I want to make sure that I get to everything regarding who are you with ADHD. You know what? Why don't you go ahead and tell me, who are you with ADHD? If you're here, I'm going to safely assume that you have ADHD. So who are you? Tell me who you are in 3 words. Who are you with ADHD? While I'm looking at my whiteboard here. I also want to mention, everyone, that, give me 1 second. I'm just checking my whiteboard. Please comment, who are you with ADHD? Okay, so nobody new has commented. That's okay. That's okay. So I am dealing with this whole identity thing even now as a content creator and a coach. And I'll tell you how. Yes, of course, I can marry being a YouTube creator with being a coach. That's actually what that's the goal, to put in coaching elements, build this community, build a community of people who, want to have information that's useful and free. Oh, let's see. Black ADHD coach, you are creative, resourceful, and moody. Ooh, moody. Yes, 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 yes. Where was I going with that? Guys, bear with me. I'm like you. But also the other parts of me from before I created this channel, from before becoming a coach, the other parts of me that exist out there on another YouTube channel altogether that nobody subscribes to, is just where videos of my former life as an entertainer live. And I struggle with, do I bring that element of my life into this universe? Like I do have a playlist of some of the shorts I did when I was doing improv, which is, I don't know if you care about that or not. They're just shorts that I'm very proud of. But as far as, not necessarily with this channel, but believe it or not, I don't have a website. Can you guys believe ADHD is the New Black doesn't have a website yet? I'm building it right now. But that's what I'm making these decisions. How much of my life before 2019, when I started treating my ADHD, when I was doing stand-up, when I was a warm-up comedian, how much of that would my audience care about? Would that add value to, people who are coming to, this brand, to, I hate saying brand, but people who come to my website, maybe looking for coaching resources, looking for ADHD resources, would they care about all the other things that I did. Why am I doing this? All the other things I did prior to 2019. I don't know. What do you guys think? Just somebody put in there. Do you care about what I was up to before 2019? Would it add value to my website, which, is going to be full of resources and everything? I mean, I built this channel. I need this question answered. Yeah, me too. Or is it a separate question you need answered? And please, guys, comment, please. Free flow with the comments. Free flow with the comments. Auntie Cleo says it can be helpful to see someone having similar experiences. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess I have to figure out a way to do it, because I wouldn't want someone to like come to my website looking for coaching resources and the first thing they see is, I don't know, my acting reel. Like, so, like, that's what I feel like people would go like, so. And again, I just threw dirt on my past experience. I just threw dirt on the things that I worked very hard for and achieved. I got to stop that. And if you do that too, let's all make a pact with each other to stop throwing dirt on our very valid and valuable experiences, because without that experience, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today, which I'm still trying to figure out. Anyway, everyone, another thing that I want to mention is that I'm going to save that for another video. What do you all want for me to answer? If you guys have any questions you'd like for me to answer, please put those in the comments. I envisioned myself being, extremely polished and prepared for this live shot. And I barely got in this chair in time. I was like struggling. I was struggling because I'm building a new habit. Oh, that's the thing I wanted to talk about, actually. Every day that I don't produce a video, every day I'm not going live, it just eats at me, because honestly, I'm going to share this with you guys. My faith, I'm a Christian. I know Christian's like a word that can mean anything these days, but I am a Jesus follower. I am a Bible believing Christian, and I believe that we all have gifts and talents. And every day that I am not helping somebody with the knowledge that I know, that I've learned, that was gifted to me through an actual scholarship to go and study at the Coaching Academy, and just my life, every day I'm not adding enrichment or value to somebody else's life through the means that I have, which is this channel or coaching, I feel terrible, and it eats at me. And it's like I'm always thinking about you guys, like you, like all of you, anybody who would come across this content. I am thinking about anyone who is lost, confused, have no idea what's going on with their brain. They don't have answers. They don't know where to look for answers. They don't have, they don't even know the questions to ask. I am always thinking about you all and feeling so guilty and bad that I am not doing my job. And my job as a human being is to serve. My job as a Jesus follower is to serve others. And so last night, I guess I just got tired of watching disaster videos on YouTube. Anybody else doom scroll? Doom scroll is a neurodivergent thing, I think. I have loud neighbors upstairs. If you guys can hear them, ignore them. I'm trying to. That brother cursed me out one day, by the way, during quarantine. And I said, I see you. And he hasn't talked to me since. Anyway, he hasn't bothered me since either. But, what was I saying? Oh my gosh. Last night, I got burned out on doom scrolling. And I deleted all the apps from my phone that were not helpful to me anymore, that were distracting me, that was pulling my focus from what I'm supposed to be doing. If you want to know what apps they are, I'll tell you which apps they were. Started out with Publishers Clearinghouse because actually I wanted a magazine subscription. Back in November, December, I'm like, is Publishers Clearinghouse still a thing? You guys remember Publishers Clearinghouse? Like they would send stuff to your house when you were little, and it seemed kind of scammy. It was like, oh, you can win $1 million. The people on TV, they get the big check, and they say you don't have to purchase a magazine subscription, but you kind of felt like you did. So we always had magazines coming into the house. Anyway, and we never won Publishers Clearinghouse. So I was thinking, you know what? I wouldn't mind having a magazine subscription to something that I'm interested in. Oh, Publishers Clearinghouse. Do they still do that? So guess what, guys? They don't, but they trick you into like downloading these casino games. And every time you play a casino game, you win entries into like their grand prize that month. I think it's a total scam. I am like, who wins these things? I want to see the people who wins this money because it feels like a scam. You don't have to buy anything, but the point is, I didn't get magazines, but I got a bubble cash addiction. I got a bingo addiction. And I wouldn't say addiction, but it was definitely like, it's been a thing since the holidays. And so yesterday, I'm like, I feel absolutely like there is nothing in my head right now. Like, not a positive thought, not a negative thought. All I'm hearing is bling, 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 bling. I go to sleep and I'm seeing these bubbles. Boop, 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 boop. I'm like, no. I will never get anything done. And it's like, did I even win any money on these games? Yeah, I won $10, $12, like, dollars. And that's the thing. You're like playing it like it's real money, like. And so, yeah, last night I just had enough. I had enough because I just had enough. And I don't know if you guys ever reach your breaking point or you reach your, you cross that threshold of tolerations. ADHD, guys, we tolerate so much in our lives. Anybody understand what I mean by tolerations? My depth for BS in my life is pretty deep. Like, I can tolerate a lot of discomfort in my life. I can tolerate and have tolerated tons of discomfort. And I think because we are just used to being uncomfortable in our skins, in our head, around people, it's just like there's always this level of discomfort, especially if your ADHD is undiagnosed or unmanaged, right? And some of the tolerations that I'd like to let go of, and I'm starting to work out a strategy for that. Clutter. Anybody else live in a lot of clutter? Yeah, we think we're okay with it because we're like, no, that pile of stuff. I know where everything is in that pile of stuff, and that's okay. But then eventually you're just living in a big old pile of stuff or multiple piles of stuff. And because we don't even see it anymore. But it's affecting us and we don't even realize it. It's affecting our ability to get focused on things. Because, when you're like, oh, I need to clean. And then you take one pile and you just kind of make a new pile out of that pile. It's like, oh, this shouldn't be in this pile. And then it's like the intention of the pile says, I'm going to put these somewhere where they're supposed to be. I'm going to put all these things where they're supposed to be. But for now, I'm just going to put them in a pile. And they always stay in the pile, right? Because we haven't figured out where our stuff lives, or we haven't figured out if we need this stuff or not. So, yes. So last night, I just reached my threshold of tolerating playing bingo and bubble cash on my phone as a way to avoid the real work. And the real work is you guys. You are my work. And I had to really think about, well, what's the speed bump for me? Where's the resistance? Because this part I love doing. This part, talking to you all, which basically sometimes feels like I'm talking to myself. Somebody holler in the chat, please. Okay. Like literally, you guys, I can talk to myself all day. I don't know if that's a skill or a mental disorder. But anyway, the point is this part, engaging with you all. I know you're there. Thank you. Engaging with you all. This, and if I'm helping, I hope I'm being helpful. That's my total intention. This part is easy. This part I love. It's the steps right before this. Setting up the live. Making sure that I have figured out how to engage or start the live from my iPhone that I pre-scheduled, because I've never scheduled a live on my iPhone and then actually started the correct stream. And so it's all of these details that are my speed bumps that are painful. They're painful, but I know there's nobody else to do it for me. I don't have a producer. I don't have, that person. I don't have a social media moderator. So I know if it's going to get done, I have to do it. So I decided today, whether I was ready or not, whether I had, my wig on straight. Maxine Waters, she was acting a little funny the other day, wasn't she? Yelling at that poor guy at the door. That guy was just like, oh, I love Maxine Waters. Anyway, she is sharp. She's like 90. I didn't mean to change the subject. I'm sorry. Anyway, I decided today, no matter what, I'm going live. I'm going live. So I'm glad I actually was able to, look decent and have my thoughts somewhat in order for this live. Let's see what you all are saying. Let's see. I really appreciate that. How do I convey that to my brain? Oh, Dr. Nisha said that. Dr. Nisha, let me go back and read the comment before. Well, maybe you were commenting on something that I said. Dr. Nisha, oh, no, you were replying to something Auntie Cleo said. Okay, well, y'all having a conversation with yourselves. That's great. Please engage with you guys self. Let me just read some of the comments, though, so I can catch up. Let's see. Dr. Nisha, a few comments ago, said she's a neurospicy creative. Yes. Auntie Cleo says it could be helpful to see someone having similar experiences. Dr. Nisha, she agreed with that, saying yes, merging the interests. Auntie Cleo then says, apparently it's just the three of us, Dr. Nisha, Auntie Cleo, and Stacy Michelle. Auntie Cleo says that your authenticity is comforting and relatable. Thank you, Auntie Cleo, unless you were talking to Dr. Nisha. Thank you, Auntie Cleo. Dr. Nisha, how to stop humiliating myself in public speaking engagements. If I'm not an expert on the subject, I don't feel comfortable offering my opinion. Okay, Dr. Nisha, we can talk about that. Dr. Nisha, if you're not an expert on a subject, and oh, well, I want to understand what you're saying. So if you're doing a public speaking engagement and they've brought you there to speak on a subject that you're not comfortable with, then if that's the case, then I would say don't take them until you are fully prepared for them. And if you know you're going to be called to speak on a topic, be ready. Become an expert on the subject before you are on a panel, because there's nothing to stop you from getting the information you need. We have almost the entire history of humanity's information in the palm of our hand in these smartphones. So dig deep, hit up on Google Scholar if it's something that's, science related, medical related, anything that you might need to read an abstract about. If you need to look at the white paper for, the topic, you can find all those on Google Scholar. I know that when I was re-diagnosed and started actually treating ADHD in 2019, if you're familiar with my story, you might remember me telling you all in one or several videos that I was actually diagnosed in my early 20s. And at that time, it didn't mean enough to me to do anything about it. So I kind of forgot about having ADHD, but ADHD didn't forget about me. And so, life has been a struggle with ADHD until 2019 when I was reminded that I had ADHD because I was tired of the tolerations at that time. And that like flipped a switch for me. Like I've known what's going on with me somewhere in my head. I buried it deep. I put it in a file cabinet somewhere in the back of my head and shut the cabinet for like over 20 years. So the fact that I all along knew I had an ADHD diagnosis but forgot about it, therefore didn't address it, and now finally coming back to it, I felt like I'd wasted 20 years of my life in a way. Like I could have treated this 20 years ago, but then again, everything happens for a purpose. I truly believe that. And so if I had kind of like, I don't want to say fixed myself, but if I had developed strategies and tools and just had all the ADHD coaching knowledge 25 years ago, it would have just really have benefited me. You know what I'm saying? Like it would have benefited people in my environment, obviously, as well, who have been affected by my ADHD. But as far as me being able to serve others with this knowledge, I don't think that would not have happened because I wouldn't have had the 20 years of struggling with this and then empathizing with the rest of you out there who may have been living decades with unmanaged ADHD. So I do feel like this all happened for a reason, the timing of it. And what I was getting around to is when I realized that other people were treating ADHD like a secret, like, oh, I don't even know, I'm struggling with this, but thanks for talking about it. I realized that this is something that needs to be more public, and I can do that because I have a platform, but I don't want to start talking about it until I know what I'm talking about. So I spent about a year and a half, Dr. Nisha, just diving in head first and gaining knowledge and learning every single thing I could about ADHD, what it is, what it does to the brain, what dopamine has to do with it, what neurotransmitters do, like all the sciencey stuff. I was all in because I'm curious, number one, but I knew that it ignited my purpose. And so I knew that I could not speak. I couldn't speak with authority about ADHD at all until I had immersed myself enough in knowledge. And so what I did was I listened to podcasts of, respectable content creators, like sciencey people like, ADA, the Attention Deficit Disorder Association, Children and Adults with Attention Deficit Disorder. They both have podcasts. I learned who Dr. Hallowell is. I learned who Dr. Dodson is, like all these people, all of the current researchers. I learned who they were and I learned what they know. I learned what they know in a way that I could talk about it. And so it took about a year and a half, just like having casual conversations with people, and if somebody say, well, what is ADHD? And at first it would, it'd be like, well, it's that, lack of focus. Like literally that's how it started out. And then I got to a point where I could say ADHD, it is a condition of focus or misplaced focus. And much of it has to do with our inability to manage dopamine, the dopamine production that gives us the motivation to do anything. And so I am a lot more comfortable now talking about ADHD off the cuff and with authority because I made sure that, because it interested me, by the way, that anything that was out there that was credible, I ate it. I ate it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay. Now, Auntie Cleo, anybody in this space should understand the challenges of getting started and remaining consistent, or will hopefully learn about the challenges we face. Yeah, it's the getting started part, mostly, for a lot of us, it's the getting started part. Um, Coach Nisha, maybe you'll agree with me. If you do, please, give me a thumbs up or something. I have found that the getting started part many times is because we don't know where to start. If it's like a task, a simple task that can be done, with a phone call or an email, just something that, we hate doing, but we can sit down or just get it done in a step or two. Not that stuff. The things that are important to us are usually the things that we have trouble engaging in across a span of time until it's done, because either A, we don't know the first step, or we don't know the second step, or we don't know what the end looks like, or we can't measure our progress. We are big on having to be able to see our progress, right? Like, we want to be able to, like, when we start something, we kind of want to know, okay, how long am I in this for? It's like, where's the end goal? Okay. And maybe we're not consciously thinking that, but if something starts dragging on and we lose our why am I doing this? Like, why is so big for ADHD people? Like, why am I doing this? What's the point? When we start losing that, a lot of times we just get off track and we'll stop what we're doing. And then, so in the workplace, people who manage people with ADHD can get perplexed because they think it's easy. Like, they think the thing that they do is easy because they don't have to negotiate with themselves to get started on it, or they know all the steps. But it's like, if you have people under you on your team who have ADHD, maybe you don't even know it, but ask them, are you clear on the steps? Do you know where we're going with this? Or if you're the person on a team and you're like leaving a team meeting like, I don't even know what they want from me, find out. Like, we need to have clarity on, what do you expect from me? What are your expectations? Life can get so much easier when we know what the expectations are. Let's see. Auntie Cleo says, Dr. Nisha, you're probably doing just fine despite feeling like you're humiliating yourself. Your contributions are valid, and being an expert is super subjective. That too, Auntie Cleo, except not really. Like, an expert in, I would say, no, I don't think that being an expert is subjective. I think you either have the knowledge or you don't have the knowledge. That's my opinion. You either know it or you don't know it. And if you don't know it and you're trying to talk about it, you're winging it. And that's where the lack of confidence comes in. Some things are objectively, you either know it or you don't. You either know math or you don't know math. You either know how to fly a plane or you kind of know how to fly a plane. And if you kind of know how to fly a plane, then you're probably going to end up, on TV soon. For bad reasons. If you're not an expert at flying a plane, you probably shouldn't get behind the controls of an airplane. And I only mention that because I have a very deep interest in aviation, and I've seen some YouTube videos recently of people who clearly, in my mind, have ADHD, and they're like, "Whoa, taking flight lessons," and they want to skip all the steps. They don't want to learn the steps. Right? They want to just get behind the controls of a plane and fly. And one of them crashed with her dad in a plane. Like, she brought a plane. She had the money. She bought herself a plane, and she didn't want to take all this. Oh, it's terrible, tragic. You probably heard about it. It happened 2 years ago. I'm like, did anybody maybe recognize that maybe this woman might not have the patience or the desire to engage in the details of all the steps it takes to proficiently fly a plane? I don't know. Anyway, and she was a white woman, by the way. This is no DEI stuff, DEI. I'm sorry. I'm off track. So anyway, I guess technically having ADHD would be a DEI hire in the aviation industry, because did you guys know, here I am going down did you guys know rabbit hole. Did you guys know that if you want to be a commercial pilot, You cannot disclose that you have ADHD if you have ADHD, or you won't have a commercial flying career. Did you guys know that? I did not know that. It seems discriminatory, but then again, it's like, I don't want a pilot who skips steps because details may not be his or her thing. You know, that would be me. I'm bad with attention to detail. I have inattentive ADHD. Attention to detail has gotten me in trouble in so many jobs. And, like I've seen videos where pilots have like skipped a step, their pre-flight checks, and then they're like, get distracted. Oh, yes, I'll have coffee, please. And then they skip the most important step. They just skip right over it. Then next thing you know, they are no more. Anyway, sorry. Sorry, I just entertained myself. Anyway, that's not funny. I'm sorry. Anyway, everybody, let's see. Anybody else want to? Well, Dr. Nisha and Auntie Cleo, you guys have having a nice little discussion between yourselves. I appreciate that because I think a lot of this is very valid. And I appreciate the little community you guys have made with each other. I envision this being a bigger community. So anyway, it is 9:59 now, and I promised myself that I would stay on live until 10. Do you all have any questions before I just read over some comments from some previous videos on previous topics that might be of help? Anybody else? Anybody else? Please just type in a question if you have it. Auntie Cleo says, masking is a whole other draining task. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's part of the who do you need to be right now in this moment to survive this set of circumstances. And that's where a lot of masking comes in. It is. It is. But then again, that can be a good tool if you are having trouble engaging in something or finishing something. I don't know if you can hear my Alexa back there. But you can ask yourself, okay, Auntie Cleo doesn't want to get up and do the dishes right now. Auntie Cleo would rather just sit here and watch, the Masked Singer. But Auntie Cleo needs to do the dishes. So who does Auntie Cleo need to be to get up and do those dishes? Who does Auntie Cleo need to be right now to get up and do those dishes? And if that's a technique that can help you, it involves a little bit of play, a little bit of imagination, a little bit of, maybe playing a character. Play a character. Sometimes I have to play a character just to get myself engaged in something or motivated to do something or to talk to certain people. Could my eyes look any bigger in these reading glasses or to talk to certain people? Sometimes we have to be somebody else, and we're good at that. And that is something that we can value about ourselves instead of, instead of looking at it as a deficit or something that's negative. Sometimes, our masking does protect us. And sometimes we have to wear the mask. Who do we need to be today to get this done? Stacy doesn't want to do it. So who does Stacy need to be today? Do I need to be my Aunt Dorothy? Because I can be my Aunt Dorothy today. See, my voice just dropped. And see how my voice just dropped? See my voice just dropped? I'm like, what would my Aunt Dorothy do? Anyway, I don't know why I'd like, that was really good, Stacy. I just patted myself on the back internally. I'm sorry, guys. The Lord's working on me with what's the word I'm looking for? With, I don't want to say my ego, but with pride. The Lord's working on me with pride. You would think, after all the times I've told you how much I feel like, I've like failed, that I wouldn't have a problem with pride. But that was my mask. That was overcompensating for my feeling of inadequacy. So I'm learning how to temper it, like take what I feel at the very bottom and then the overcompensating at the very top and kind of meet in the middle. It's a process, guys. Managing ADHD is a process and a journey. So anyway, I'm going to read a couple comments from the last year or so. From the very first episode, I still get comments from 4 years ago. People commenting that feels like you jumped into my head and took the words straight from there. My God, this has been my life, all of it, and now I can't stop crying. And that came from viewer Ms. Nid 19. That was I'm so grateful that people are still finding that very first video that I posted. You know, what helps is that when you cannot express what ADHD is doing to you or how it's affecting your life, it's really helpful to find a community out there or people who are vocal about it, who can express exactly what you're feeling. And it helps you to understand it, helps you to not feel alone. That's the main thing. It's like, oh, it's not just me. It's not just me. I'm not the weird person. I'm not bad. I'm not a bad person. A lot of us feel like we're bad people. If you've ever felt that way, just give me a thumbs up. Like, you just feel like you're a bad person for being who we are, for doing things the way we do them, for thinking the way we think. Only because it's different than the way other people do them. And it doesn't mean the way other people do it is right all the time. It just means that we do things differently. So there's not a one size fits all for life. And that's the problem with society right now. Let's see. People just commented from the first video ever, still to this day, I feel so understood and empowered. I was recently re-diagnosed and everything makes so much sense now. So yeah, I just wanted to read a few comments from that very first video I posted back in 2019. People are still finding it. People are still feeling seen, and that's the whole point. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and end this live stream, everyone. Again, please look out on Thursday for another live. I will try to have coaching elements in my Tuesday and Thursday lives, but really I just want to talk about our experience with having ADHD. And once I start going live on Fridays, maybe I'll dedicate Fridays specifically to coaching, maybe live coaching. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I wanted to just get over the speed bump of getting this first intentional live shot out of the way today. And I did it. Well, live stream out of the way. And I did it. I did it. We did it. Yay. Auntie Cleo says, when are we doing this again? Auntie Cleo, be here on Thursday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Bring some friends. Again, everyone, if you are finding this channel to be useful, to be helpful, to be of enrichment, just all the content that's already out there and this live shot, please like the channel or please like some videos and please subscribe. I really am intentionally wanting to reach the 10,000 subscriber mark before the end of spring. And we can get there. We can get there, guys, but you got to help me, all right? All right. Thank you all for tuning in. And again, I hope this was enriching to you somehow. You guys are amazing. Just remember that, remember all the hard things you've done before. Draw upon the strength, whatever it took to do those hard things before, to do future hard things. You can do those. All right. All right, everybody. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. Be blessed. And I'll see you back here on Thursday. Bye-bye.